So Seetahal, thanks for giving us the opportunity to speak to you in your new capacity as General Manager of Spicemas Corporation. Just tell us a bit about the transition. You've now, a lot of people familiar with you in marketing, etc., and now you've made a new transition into handling what we may call the biggest summer festival of Grenada, Spicemas. Tell us a bit about the transition, and for those who may not be familiar with who Kirk Seetahal is, you may just care to give us a summary as to who you are.
I think everybody knows who I am. I've been in the media for years and transitioned from the media into PR with government at first, and then transitioned into marketing with digital for 7.5 years. Now I'm here as GM for the Spicemas Corporation, and it's my first week, and it's all about familiarizing myself with the processes, with the current status of where we are as Spicemas, familiarizing myself with the stakeholders. What I've been really focused on is where we are in terms financially, who do we owe, who owes us, bridging that gap, building relationships. One of the first things I'm looking to do is do some team building exercises with my team. Many people told me when you come into an organization, oh, you're going into Spicemas, you're going to meet people who are bad workers and terrible workers, and you need to get rid of them. I don't think so. I think most organizations, when you find delinquent workers, it's as a result of poor management. People don't come into an organization thinking that they're going to be bad employees. But they come into an organization, you would have selected them in the beginning thinking that, okay, they're the right people for the job. Something would have happened along the way. In every organization, you find there are people who strive, there are people who survive, and then there are nosedivers. You have the people who strive, they go above and beyond in terms of getting their jobs done. You have the people who survive, they're supposed to come to work from 8 to 4, they'll be here exactly at 8 and they leave at 4. You can't get anything more from them, you won't get anything less from them. And then you have the nosedivers. They're the people that will complain about everything. You can't get them to do anything. They're at work the entire day and they're not doing anything. So it's really trying to understand my team, assess their strengths and their weaknesses. And I want to see their weaknesses because it's also about empowering people. I'm not going to be in the job for the rest of my life. So I must have a strong team that I can empower and make sure that they can support me. So we are going to do some team building exercises. I've already contacted Dr. Rudy Webster, who is going to assist me with some of the team building exercises. Because these people have been here for a while. They know the business better than I do. So I need a strong working team. So that's my first focus. I think the second focus would be working with the stakeholders. Meeting with MAS, meeting with PAN, meeting with the Soca de Calypsonians, all the stakeholders, so I can get a better idea of how they feel about Spicemas. I was part of the recent consultation that the Spicemas had in terms of really looking at the product. And what I found from the consultation is that we only scratched the surface because it was a one-day symposium. A lot of people came, but they came to air their gripes. So the event was supposed to be finding the way forward, but you have to understand that people have been disgruntled for a while, they've been unhappy with different things, and they have a wealth of knowledge, and they have great suggestions and great ideas. So I really want to meet with PAN and discuss the way forward for PAN. I want to meet with Soca, discuss the way forward. I want to meet with MAS and discuss the way forward.
Some people would tend to say, okay, it's a new general manager. Let's throw all our negatives at him and allow him to fix it. I'm sure you're in this position not to dwell too much on what has become a problem over the years, but to try and find a solution to make Spicemas work. You spoke about your team that you intended to build moving forward now that you're in 2015 and you're about to get out of 2015. For 2016, what can we expect in terms of the product? What will be your ultimate focus?
Mm-hmm. I think my ultimate focus is putting the best product out there. Everybody looks at us during Spicemas. We have thousands and thousands of visitors. People have been disgruntled with the production of the shows. People have been disgruntled with how the mass operates on the street. Some people say to me, well, why am I paying $700 for a costume and I'm jumping for 3 hours on the road? It's not worth it when they compare themselves to other carnivals in the region. You have people complaining, well, okay, Pan is dwindling, but I'm a supporter of Pan, and I showed up at the stadium with my friends, foreigners, for Pan, and we were sitting there and 2 hours Pan can't start. We have pay-per-view. Shows were supposed to start at 8 o'clock and they started at 9:10. You know, we have to understand that this is an international product. We have to put the past behind us and we have to move forward to make sure that we have a world-class quality product, Spicemas.
Would you say that you probably have any plan in the not too distant future to sort of marry Spicemas and Carnival Carnival? We know you're very familiar with Carnival Carnival and the product, and we have seen it grown over the years. Any plans within your agenda to sort of lend a helping hand to the Seetahal where Carnival is concerned?
The Spicemas Corporation or the Carnival Committee, whatever it was, has always supported the Carnival Committee. So that relationship, that marriage will continue. I can't get into details. I know a new committee is being formed right now in Carriacou. I know that with the Monday being a holiday in Grenada this year, with Independence, I know a lot more people are looking to go up to Carriacou. Even earlier on, the office is trying to find bookings in Carriacou and everything is already booked up. So we know it's going to be a bumper festival. We are willing to lend all the support we can to the new committee to make sure that they get things right.
Okay. What do you foresee to be one of your heated challenges?
I think the heating challenge is, number one, I'm not a magician. And I have to be very mindful that there's a lot of baggage from the past. We still have situations where we owe people from 2013. I am going to do my best with the team that I have to make sure we get everything on track, but I also have to bear in mind that I have some baggage that I'm taking with me. And I really want to address those issues. I want to make sure that those outstanding debts are no more so that we can really embrace a new carnival season. I want to be able to go in fresh. Right now I'm analyzing all the different events. I want to know exactly what Soca Monarch costs me. I want to know exactly what Panorama costs me. I want to know exactly what it costs the committee so that we can have all the knowledge possible to really put on a better product.
Okay. In terms of the product, any particular event or events you think need critical analyzing? We hear a lot of times we talk about Soca Monarch could be able to hold its own, but then at the end of the day you hear about the loss compared to the finances that they pump into the event itself. Then you hear about the Queen Show that doesn't seem to garner that enough patrons. Then you have the Calypso, the March Gras. What are your plans in terms of the actual events that you think you're going to be pinpointing to say, well, okay, this is the route that we're going to go for 2016?
Well, I'm the general manager of Spicemas. Everything Spicemas falls under this, the Spicemas committee. So there's not one particular event. I think each event in itself needs improvement. I know, for example, the Queen Show. A lot of people complain to me, oh, there's a Queen Show. So I know a lot of the marketing didn't happen early. I know a lot of the planning happened by the way or last minute. These are things that we have to change. There's no reason why we should know the contestants 2-3 months ahead of Carnival and start promoting the contestants. There is no reason why it is we need to be fighting all the time to get artists to understand that it's a product. For example, a lot of people come to the stadium, they sit in the audience and they're like, oh my God, the Spicemas Corporation can do better. Why it is the show is starting an hour late? Why is it's starting 2 hours late? Okay, these people are terrible about putting down the show and they have no idea that most of the times it's because of the artists. I know, for example, for Queen Show this year, we were asked to be at the stadium for 5 o'clock. And there's a reason why they ask you to come early. Only 2 of the contestants were here on time, Miss St. George and Miss St. Patrick. The majority of the other contestants showed up about 7:30, 8 o'clock for a show that starts at 8 o'clock. It's the same thing that happens with soca and calypso. We've got to make these artists understand that they're part of the product. But if you have no consequences for showing up late, what do you think happens? It becomes the norm. You don't care. So I think there must be consequences, and I'm not saying penalties. We're all grown adults. We have to understand that this is an international product. Okay, an artist should have no problem with the Spicemas Corporation saying you have to be there for 5 o'clock and showing up at 5 o'clock, because I'm sure that all the artists and everybody that's participating in Carnival wants to go forward. I'm sure all these artists don't want to just be Grenadian artists. They want to be able to go and perform in Trinidad. They want to go and perform all over the world. And I say internationally. And internationally is not only Labor Day and Carnival in the United States. Okay? And anywhere you go in the world, you would understand that time is money. So it's time management. It's not anything goes, and that's what's been happening. So sometimes you see a production and you say it's terrible, but you have no idea that the artists haven't showed up as yet. So it's getting every single stakeholder, the jab, the short knee, the masquerader on the street, to understand that they're all part of Spicemas. And they all have an integral part to play in making sure that we put the best product forward.
Launch-wise, a lot of people tend to say you don't get the carnival spread because the launch is normally held around June. Mm-hmm. Now that we have a new general manager, most people anticipate an earlier launch. Mm-hmm. Would you share the same sentiment?
I'm still meeting with the board. We're putting plans in place. It's very early. It's probably my 4th day on the job. So we're putting all those things in place to ensure that we have a plan by the end of November of how we're going forward. The launch, as I said, it's stakeholders again. You know, sometimes we have a launch and you have none of the mass bands willing to come and show their sketches. You have to beg some of the artists to come and perform. This is an international product, and we have to make sure that we understand the importance of a launch. A launch creates the atmosphere. It creates the energy for going forward. So it's about working with everybody to make sure that we do this thing right this time.
My final question, you've had the opportunity to see and look at Carnival 2015 be executed. You would have heard some of the stories and be able to probably experience some of the things yourself. If you were to pinpoint one thing that Kirk Seetahal is going to do differently for 2016, what would that be?
Listen and respect. I think often you have problems with many of the stakeholders because you're not listening and you're not respecting them. You have to respect the artists. You have to understand where they're coming from, their needs. At the same time, you're not going to be bullied by them, but it's about mutual respect. It's about getting the artists and the stakeholders to understand that you have a relationship with the Spicemas Corporation, and it must be mutual respect and understanding. I really want this year to meet with the stakeholders and let them understand firsthand what it is to put on Soca Monarch. What does it cost? Okay, what are the gate receipts? Okay, what is your responsibility to the product? I want everybody, not only the Spicemas Corporation, but everybody to put their best foot forward, even in terms of the quality of music, even in terms of the quality of costumes on the street. Okay, because I hear everything. I hear from the masqueraders saying, well, after one day my costume fall apart. Okay, I hear people complaining, well, music is terrible. I really want everybody to understand that it's an international product. It's about working together. It's about listening. It's about finding that mutual ground to put the product out there. Spicemas is bigger than me. It's bigger than the corporation. It's bigger than the board of directors. It's bigger than all of us. But all of us have to come together to make sure that we put the best product forward.
I said final question, but this one just popped in my head. In terms of sponsorship-wise, you tend to probably have a hard time or probably will have a hard time trying to get sponsors to understand the ins and outs of Spicemas. They're probably thinking that, yeah, we just write a check and we sponsor an event, etc., and that's the end of it. In terms of sponsorship, we know over the years we've had companies who tend to want to hog down Carnival because they're probably spending more. And a lot of people say, okay, we think this is the time with Kirk Seetahal to break that barrier.
It's about maintaining relationships, and it's about developing new relationships. It's about being mindful that the people that have been supporting us have been doing so for quite a long time, and we do appreciate that. But it's also about getting other stakeholders to understand how Carnival benefits them. You know how much fried chicken is sold during Carnival? And I'm not just talking about Kentucky Fried Chicken. You know how many people benefit from Carnival and don't contribute to Carnival? So it's really letting people understand their involvement and their stake in Carnival, and really getting them and encouraging them to support us.